When Jesus sat on the mountain to teach his followers, his words were not just religious talk. They were deep, piercing truths that reached beyond what people had always heard. In Matthew 5 verses 27 to 30, Jesus spoke about something very personal, the battle for purity in the heart. In those days, people had learned the commandments given through Moses. They knew what was written, "You shall not commit adultery." To them, adultery was simply the physical act, when a married person slept with someone who wasn't their spouse. As long as they didn't do it, they felt innocent. But then Jesus said something shocking. He said that even if a person looks at a woman with lust, he has already committed adultery with her in his heart. This was radical. It was eye-opening. It meant that sin was not just about what we do. It was about what we think, what we desire, and what we imagine. Jesus was pointing to something deeper. Sin begins in the heart. You don't need to physically act on something before it becomes sin. The heart is the soil where every action begins. A thought becomes a desire becomes an action, and an action can destroy a soul. Before a man commits adultery, he imagines it. He allows lust to grow in his mind. He enjoys it secretly in his thoughts. And before long, what was just imagination becomes reality. Jesus wanted his followers to understand that God is not only interested in what we do, but also in who we are inside. Let's think about it this way. Murder begins with hatred in the heart. Theft begins with covetousness in the heart. Adultery begins with lust in the heart. That is why Proverbs 4 verse 23 says, "Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it spring the issues of life." Whatever controls your heart will eventually control your life. Let's slow down and think about the phrase, "Whoever looks at a woman to lust for her." Jesus didn't say it's wrong to notice beauty. God created beauty. It's normal to admire someone who looks nice. The problem begins when admiration turns into lust, when the mind starts to imagine what it should not. Lust is not appreciation. It's a selfish desire to possess what is not yours. Lust turns people into objects. It removes respect and replaces it with craving. Lust says, "I want that for myself," even when God says, "That belongs to someone else." And here's the truth. You don't have to act on lust for it to corrupt your soul. Lust feeds the wrong appetite and slowly weakens your spiritual life. When the eyes wander and the mind dwells on sinful thoughts, the heart gets trapped in an invisible chain. You may look holy on the outside, but inside, there's a war raging, a war between purity and desire. Then Jesus used very strong words. If your right eye causes you to sin, pluck it out and throw it away. If your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. At first,